So I'm going to be talking about Perth to Singapore, Sydney to the US, and the future, and beating 5 minutes. So basically, first things first, David already showed you a diagram of most of our connectivity, but as we said, there's the cable connection from Simiway 3, which goes up here. 90% of the faults happen just up there. It's a section inside, just outside of the main section of Singapore, and that's where a lot of different cable systems get cut. This is part of the reason why we were interested in alternative cable systems, which we'll talk about a bit further. This is currently providing AARNet with a 2.5 gigabit a second service from Perth, which is the lowest latency link we have to Asia at the moment. We then have Sydney to GUAM. Now, currently this is provided by PPC1 or PIPE. This goes from Sydney up through Papua New Guinea all the way up to GUAM. And basically there at the moment we actually interconnect with another cable system, which is the AAG cable systems, which is the Asia American Gateway system, which provides us with the connection from GUAM through up until, this is Taiwan up here, and then down into Singapore, and that is our backup link to Singapore. That's another 2.5 gigabit a second service. So that's how we get our redundancy from Singapore. So when we lose Simiway 3, we have the capacity via PPC1. We try and use both of them at the same time, and basically we're at the point now where we're needing to upgrade those to higher capacities. So there's some things coming in the future for that. Then we've got the links to the US, and as David said, we use Southern Cross, so we have a set of links now. We actually have 4 10 gig links that are commodity, so 2 go on the southern path this way, 1 ends up in Los Angeles, 1 ends up in San Jose. Then we have another path that goes via the north, which is through, that's Fiji, that's Hawaii by the way, up to Seattle and into Palo Alto. And then we have the 2 Essex Transport 100 gig links which go through south and the northern part. We are, as you know, there was the announcement of INDIGO. There's 2 parts to INDIGO. There's INDIGO Central and INDIGO West. INDIGO Central talks about this part going around to Sydney, which obviously I'm not talking about because we're talking about international here. We might think waters around Australia are international, but that's a different story. And then there's this section, which is the actual one that's going to go to Singapore. So we've got capacity on the spectrum. We're currently looking at different hardware for that, and it's going to be quite interesting as to what we're going to light day one. Now I'm going to finish there, but there's a couple of things to add to that. Inside of GUAM, there is an open exchange point appearing, which will allow us to peer, and I don't think I've shown a map that's going to work for this. But at GUAM, there's a number of cable systems that come from the US, another cable systems that go out to Japan, to Hong Kong, and across to the Philippines. So there's going to be a peering point here where we'll be able to interconnect with NRENs from all over the world, all over Asia, that will give us more capacity into those regions as well. And that is me finished, with plenty of time to spare.
We try to get the guys to prepare their talks to be just over 5 minutes long so that we get the entertainment of either them hurrying or you cheering them off, one or the other. Yeah, it's, for those of you who weren't aware, the edges of our network, the AARNet network, are the west coast of the US and Asia. And that's because a long time ago we realized that it was more cost effective to buy circuits and our own capacity there, and then buy internet transit and peer with commercial and RNE providers out there. So it also gives us reasons to go to GUAM, I suppose, and and exotic places like that.